Hey, what's going on? Today I am reading a book, Speak to Sell, Persuade, Influence, and Establish Authority and Promote Your Products, Services, Practice, Business, or Cause by Dan Kennedy. The Science of Selling One-to-Many Instead of One-to-One. So I'm going to read a little bit of this and give you some of my key takeaways. I'll probably come up with, maybe my top 10 takeaways. Something that will both wow you, amaze you, perhaps entertain you. So I'm going to fast forward this while I read some of this stuff, and then I'll catch you back in a few seconds.
Hey guys, in this video I was trying out a new mic and the audio is kind of fucky. It's kind of scratchy when it hits my beard. Anyway, I figured it out, but I decided to upload it anyway. So enjoy the video. I'll see you in the next one. The audio won't be fucked, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, we're back. So I told you I had 10 good principles from this book. I already kind of cheated and went ahead and read them. Let's just dive right in here and just hammer through these fast. Principle number one speech can make you millions. To master the skill of selling one-to-one, the next logical step is selling, one-to-many. Why is that such an important skill? Well, think about this. What's the most popular show right now that involves pitching that you might have heard about? Shark Tank. You can go up there and make a presentation to a group of billionaires, and you can walk away with millions of dollars. That's like a 10-minute talk that you condense into a very persuasive thing. That can make you millions in 10 minutes. Another good example, a guy named Myron Golden. He's pretty famous in the internet marketing circles for doing a repitch at Funnel Hacking Live and making $3.2 million in 27 minutes. So not only can you massively get leverage in your sales process, you can also take that, put it into a VSL, a webinar, something that sells without you being there in front of the person. So we're talking automation. So you have the power of scale. You can sell to a whole bunch of people at once, and it's something that doesn't require your presence. So that's huge. That's a good one. Principle number 2. Dan Kennedy says you should know your script word for word. So preparation is the biggest thing. If you want to come across as smooth, confident, which you do, right? I know I do, and I often don't in my content. And so what he says is that if you're going to pitch people, you got to know your script, your call to action, word for word. None of this bullet point shit. You have to be precise. The more precise you are in your communication, in your tonality, in your delivery, your stories that you tell, that is what leads to bigger and bigger outcomes. Does that make sense? Principle number 2, know your script and be prepared. Principle number 3 is nothing establishes authority better than being an author, okay? One more piece of preparation when it comes to sales in general. When you're managing a sales team, I heard Hormozy saying this on a call that, like a private call that we were on last night. Not me and him, but me and a group of people. Hormozy was saying when he's training a sales team, the biggest miss in that sales team is that the closers are not following the script. We got one guy saying one thing, one guy saying another thing. There's no cut and paste process. And so what he says is that you should figure out what the best closer is doing, systemize it, and get all the other closers saying the same thing. So principle number 3, nothing establishes authority, in Dan Kennedy's words, better than being an author. Author is literally in authority. So if you have a book, I wrote a few books in the past, like Introverted Selling Secrets, ones on content. That is one of the best kind of foot in the doors. It's also a really good way to sell. Like you want people to buy into your story so that they trust you, they trust your process. And a book, a physical book that people can read, is one of the best ways to do that. Write a book. ChatGPT, you can actually write a book in 15 minutes. It's crazy. Principle number 4, stop motivating people and start hurting people, okay, in a nice way. You want to induce pain with your script. And so whether that's calling out the way that people are selling now, for example, like, oh, you're cold DMing people, you're selling one-to-one, bro, like there's a way better way. Like kind of like digging at them with your content. Dan Kennedy specifically says, stick them with a needle, twist it, stick them deeper in, really like dig into the pain where they think that you're educating them with your content. But really what you're doing is building problem awareness so that they're in a buying state by the time you make your call to action. Okay? No motivation, only pain. Principle number 6, clarity of purpose. This is something that's so huge. Sometimes we forget about this, even I do. I started selling a new offer just yesterday. In my first call, I forgot the clarity of purpose, which was to actually sell something. I was trying to figure out the call flow, a bit different, but Dan Candy says you should always know that you're just there to sell. You don't write a book for the sake of writing a book. You write a book so that you make sales easier. You don't do a speech so that you sound cool. You do a speech so that you sell, okay? Clarity of purpose. Principle number 6, five. That's a good one. Let's skip ahead. I don't like that one. Dan Candy says you need a bridge from your content, which is either educating people, entertaining them, informing them. I guess that's education. So it's either informational and educational. Ideally, you combine them together so that people are entertained, but they also pay attention. And then a bridge is just how you go from content to your pitch, right? So you need to memorize your bridge. And one of the biggest pieces before you go into your pitch, this applies one-to-one. Everything that applies one-to-many applies one-to-one. So if you're good at selling one-to-one, it's not that much of a difference to sell to a big crowd of people. The first element of the bridge is always the reason why you're doing something. So I actually recorded one of my closes and did a sales call review. I'll link it somewhere here. If you go through that, you'll see that I established the reason why we're doing this before going into what this is all about. Really important that you have a bridge, a transition that starts with the why. Okay? The next principle, so Dan Candy says there's 3 pieces that go into a really powerful presentation. There's making sure that you're talking to the right people, the right crowd, prospects. Like, this is the one that most people forget. You gotta make sure that if you're driving traffic or if you're speaking on stage, that you're talking to the right people or else they won't buy. It sounds so obvious. The next thing that he says is the script. We already went over that. But the third one is he says it's your attitude. And my one for selling one-to-one is that the 3 pieces that you have to master are yourself, so the energy that you're showing up with. Are you higher energy than them, right? Your attitude, your mood. And then the second piece that I like to teach people on is the frame. And the frame is everything that you're saying from the discovery all the way to the close. You want to frame the conversation in such a way that I think of it like when you're playing golf. Really, the entire call, up to and including the transition, is teeing up the golf ball. So you're putting the ball on the tee, ready to whack it, right? And so the drive would be the third piece, which is the pitch. Those are the pieces that I think are important. And then the next principle is that the pitch starts from hello. The selling presentation, the entire thing is you selling. The entire talk is selling from the very first word that comes out of your mouth to the very last thing that you say that gets them to say, okay, cool, here's my credit card. Most people think that, okay, it's time to sell as soon as they get to the pitch part. But if you're selling only then, you're kind of doing it wrong. The next principle is planting seeds. So Dan Candy calls this imprinting. In your content, in your pitch, you need to be planting seeds. Like, so Dan Candy, he always talks about how expensive his consulting is. He drops prices. He'll tell you what it costs to have a consulting day with him. It's like $18K just for him to pitch you on a more expensive project. Within your content, you look at the best people who are good at one-to-many sales. They're always seeding throughout their talks how much it is to work with them. By the time you get to the pitch, the offer, maybe the next step isn't them buying from the thing, but booking a call. They should be coming to that call with an idea, even if it's not exact, an idea that is not cheap. And if they're going to get on a call with you, they basically know what the investment is. My buddy David sells an offer and they have a pre-framing video. Like, so there's a talk, a presentation, and then they book a call. Before they jump on the call with David, where he closes at a really high rate for a really expensive offer, like $60K plus a rev share. The pre-framing video is huge. It's the reason why they close so easily and so fast. He closes really high ticket sales, like a $60K thing plus $20K per month consulting. I can't remember exactly what he said, but they close like $600,000 within like a day or two because of this pre-framing video. Okay, so that all starts the imprinting, the seeding, the pre-framing. It's a huge component. All right, and then I would say the last one is having Dan Kennedy calls it a philosophical core. So a bigger reason why you're doing what you're doing. And so if people can buy into that, it just makes your message that much more powerful. Like, oh, like it's something, it's like a movement that people want to be involved in. So very important. I guess the last one I'll leave you with is, what is the bridge in the pitch in Dan Kennedy's words? So it goes, what, why, worth, price, guarantee, instructions, and scarcities. And so to explain these really quickly, what is like, okay, here's what this is all about. It's like the features. The why is the benefits, what it's going to do for them, all the payoff basically. What it's worth, you kind of build the value. So you get all this, you get that, this thing, and so this is traditionally called like the stack. And then there's this like, okay, value is up here, price is just this much compared to the value, right? Boom, hit them with the guarantee. If you have one, it helps. If not, whatever, but the guarantee definitely helps. Instructions, you always have to give them what Dan Kennedy says, their marching orders. What's a marching order? Well, it's exactly what to do for the next steps, whether it's to go here to buy or book a call, whatever. Tell them exactly what to do. So if you want to work with me, there's a link down below to book a call with me, for example. And then the last one is scarcity, right? You build the desire, and then as they go from motivation to curious and desire to demand, you hit them with scarcity, a bit of a takeaway, and that's what causes people to act now. All right, so that's that. Hopefully you got some value from this. If you like this video, make sure you hit subscribe. Follow me for more. If you want to go deeper into how to pitch on one-to-one or one-to-many, check out this next video, which is all about how to present your services in a way where it's just a very seamless close. Okay, as always, guys, you be great. I'll catch you in the next one.